Wizards taking their final trip down south, the last road game of the 2022-2023 season. The young Wizards taking on the Atlanta Hawks, who had some stake in this game for their postseason aspirations, albeit a night with Washington missing 6 of their top rotation players. The final score was 134-116. Wes Hall here with Jason Smith. Sticks, before we bring everybody else in for this postgame show, we already talked about the youth development on this team. Daniel Gafford has a great double-double tonight, 25 and 10. What did you see from the other young guys on the score tonight?
You know, I saw, again, a great night for them to go out there and fight. They did a good job of staying in the game. It was kind of back and forth for the entire game. Third quarter, they kind of pulled away, and then Atlanta in that fourth quarter just pulled away for the win. That's the difference between a playoff team kind of getting ready and ramping up for the playoffs and a young group of guys going out there fighting for their NBA lives. But overall, I thought the Wizards did a very good job of going out there remaining competitive. It's just tough with no practice time, not really having the chemistry with each other, knowing where they're at on defense. But overall, I thought they did a very, very good job.
I'm looking at a guy like Daniel Gafford, as I mentioned, 25 points, 10 boards. And, you know, we talked about him during the pregame, what our expectations were for him. What do you think about him and the fact that Jay Huff, too, these big guys, they keep showing you something else in their bag?
Well, he was remaining aggressive. Gafford, you could say, hey, maybe we're going to shut him down for the rest of the season. But for him, he did a phenomenal job of staying aggressive, being available for his guards in pick and roll, but also throw the ball up to him. He's a lob threat. Don't ever give him a bounce pass on the floor. As a big, you want to make sure that you're just get it up there.
And just for the people at home, like, what is it? So why not? Like, if I see it and I'm breaking, you're cutting to the basket, and I see a pocket pass, why not give it to you there? Why do I have to?
Because so many guards have such good hands that they're going to slap at the ball. They're going to cause deflections, turnovers. If you're going to do anything for Gafford, throw it up. He's more athletic than 90% of the bigs out there. Why not throw it up? Because it's going to be more beneficial for him. Plus, he has great hands, and his finishing ability is elite.
For him, the path of least resistance is up. And we saw him take one and tap his name on the back of his jersey and dunk it in. So shout out to the landlord. Let's bring Chris and Drew in, though, and get them involved in this conversation. Guys, we already know that down the back stretch of this season, we're going to see the youth development continue to trend for these guys. What say you about what we saw tonight, Drew?
Hey, I saw consistency. It wasn't no fluke. One thing I got answered today was Jay Huff. That's what he brings to the table. Johnny Davis is what he's starting to bring to the table. This is what he's capable of doing next season for the Wizards in spurts. I mean, the list goes on. I was happy with the performance with Jordan Goodwin sticking at it, being a starting point guard. Daniel Gafford having a career-high night. I love the little competitive spirit between Jay Huff kind of lighting that fire under Daniel Gafford tonight, I believe, to really push him to this career-high night where he was phenomenal. So I loved what I saw, Chris.
You know, at this point of the year, you want to see these young players continue to improve, and I'd like to see what they did against Milwaukee. Obviously, you know what the Bucks are championship chasing.
Yeah.
But this Atlanta Hawks team is trying to get the 6th seed, so the Wizards are playing teams that have something to play for as we're closing out this regular season. The thing that I am curious about, though, is I love seeing these young players play well. I just want to know how it's going to actually integrate when you bring back the full roster next year, right? So it's good that these next 2 games have these kids go out there and play, and then you go into a summer and you develop and you get better. But what does it look like when the whole team is back together? I talk about Corey Kispert, what he was able to do in New York, the fact that he can just come off and catch and shoot now. He can put it on the deck. He can get his float game going. He can actually pass it out. Daniel Gafford, I think these last couple of games, him actually being the starting big man and having to go up against guys like Clint Capella and Brook Lopez. How does all of this translate once we get into next season?
Chris, to your point, you're looking at Daniel Gafford tonight, 25 points, 9 for 9 from the charity stripe, 10 boards, 8 for 10 from the field tonight. You talk about that consistent performance that we've all been looking for. He has to be thankful that he's actually getting to have more reps down the stretch of the season. Is he not, Drew?
Absolutely, but one thing we always told and noted was Daniel Gafford had to do always a better job of staying out of foul trouble, early foul trouble primarily, and he's done that. This season has not been a season where it's too many times we could say Daniel Gafford has to sit with early foul trouble. Now, maybe early on in preseason in Tokyo, but things have drastically changed as of late, and I love the growth, the development with Daniel Gafford. Chris believes he needs to work on extending his range. I think the same thing. I mean, it's too many times where guys are sagging off of Daniel Gafford, and he goes into this DHO, and they're not even paying attention to him. Next step for him, keep getting better defensively, attacking the hoop. We know he's going to do that, but knocking down maybe that mid-range free throw line jump shot is what I like to see next year, come next season for Daniel.
You know, another thing about him, and I want to give credit to Daniel first because he applied the teachings, but I think he has become a better screen setter. And I want to give March and Gortat a lot of credit for coming in and kind of being that coach. I think March has been like the best screen setter this organization's ever had. And for him to come here and being an OG and kind of teaching Daniel, okay, setting a good screen for my guard is good for him, but it's better for you because of your athleticism, because if you dive straight to the basket and that point guard throws it up as opposed to the pocket pass sticks you were talking about, you might get a little more money in your pocket when your contract comes up, because what Daniel Gafford offers is that high-level, world-class athleticism where we see it in the league. If you can go up and catch it when people throw it up there and you're a shot blocker and a rim runner, there's a market for you.
Jason, you know about
and
this.
And it's a lot of money. and we not talking about the grocery market.
Yeah, we like the kind that chinks, but we'd rather have the kind that folds. Shout out to Cover to America. But Jason, to his point, though, you want to make sure that you take advantage of the fact that guys are putting you in the best position to be in, adding extra wrinkles to your game, and the fact that Daniel Gafford consistently is a threat in the paint. Chris, did you really mean adding threes to his shot?
No, please say no.
Okay, so see, this is what happened. Okay, it's a live.
See, what happened was.
No, it was a live broadcast, and I was like, you know what? I've seen Daniel actually shoot him, but no, I don't want him taking 5 threes. I will say this, though. That 15 to 17-foot range,
yes,
I think that's the next evolution for him. Pick and pop. I'm not saying pop out to the three-point line since
we saw one tonight.
Someone, looked at me like I had 3 heads tonight.
No, but we saw Daniel Gafford shoot a little Dirk fade, one leg like step back.
Yeah, but he was about 7 to 8 feet away from the rim. It wasn't 15 to 17
It's
foot.
a start.
Stay in your lane, Daniel Gafford.
Hey, wait a minute.
It's a start.
Hey, wait a minute. A wise man once said,
oh gosh, here we go.
Evolve
Here we go.
or die in this league.
That's
And
different, though,
I don't
Chris
know.
Miller.
There's a certain 7-footer that's on our
15 to
postgame show.
17 feet. Out
All
to
right.
3, that's completely different. Daniel Gafford is a high flyer, staying on the rim, hanging around the rim. Stay efficient, Daniel Gafford. Don't listen to us on TV.
I'm so
Stretch
sorry.
Gaff. Stretch Gaff.
Wizards
New
fans,
nickname.
I'm sorry, my producers are going to kill me because I stirred the pot. I knew I kicked the hornet's nest when I did that. So I'm sorry, Chris and Drew.
I deserved it.
You did, and I appreciate you doing it because it made for great TV. We'll see you guys Friday back here in D.C. to take on the Heat. Safe travels until then,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate that.
We blame you. You stirred the pot.
No, he said it first. I just reacted to it. I just had to wait 20 minutes in real time to do it. But let's talk about the other big guy, Huff, a.k.a. Jay Tuff with the big beard. When we're watching the games, we're continually surprised by what he does. Like, obviously, G League Defensive Player of the Year. But offensively, his game is kind of sneaky. And with those, I don't even know what to call it.
He's got some
raptor
bear
claws,
paws out there. He does
Come
a
on,
phenomenal job on the offensive end. It's kind of surprising to me, his offensive capabilities. And Drew was telling us during the game that he just doesn't speed up. Nothing really speeds him up. He plays at his own pace, but he finishes extremely well for a big guy. He's got great hands, great shooting touch. He was known for the defense. He's the G League Defensive Player of the Year, averaging almost 4 blocks down there. For him, he's got a great shot fake. He's got a nice shooting touch. He can shoot threes. He can do pick and roll, pick and pop. He's a phenomenal player, and he's really surprised me offensively. When he came up, I was like, oh, man, maybe he's going to get a block against the Bucks, or maybe he's going to go out there and get a block tonight. He got 3 of those things tonight, showing that he has the defensive capability. Obviously, going against the Bucks, that's a really, really difficult task at hand, especially going against Giannis. Kind of overpowering, coming to the rim 1,000 miles an hour. It's very, very difficult. But again, tonight, on a back-to-back, he had great offensive output. He shot the ball well. He remains efficient out there, and he's staying out of foul trouble. What more could you ask for?
You know, it's crazy because the team shot 6 for 28 from 3, but Jay Huff knocked down 2 or 3. It's just
Smart
remarkable.
man.
Like, you see guys developing, and that's what you want more of. I want to bring this show in, and we can develop more of our conversation, bringing in Megan McPeak, joining us still from State Farm Arena down in Atlanta. Megan, your thoughts about what we saw tonight? Obviously, the young guys are kind of taking charge. Gaff had another great night. Jay Huff seems to find it difficult to miss from shooting from deep.
You know, it's so interesting to see the development in real time of guys, and I think that's what we're getting to see right now. And I understand that everybody would like to have seen a different outcome with regards to this season, but at the end of the day, you control what you can control. And right now, what they can control is these guys getting experience, reps, and figuring things out in real time, as I said off the top of the show. That's one of the pluses that Wes and his coaching staff have right now, is that they can implement these guys into situations they wouldn't have necessarily been in, push the boundaries with them, put them in situations that maybe they can try and test it, evaluate it at the same time for the coaching staff and the front office. But as well, too, these guys get experience, and they're also auditioning not only for the Wizards, but for 29 other NBA teams. So for Jay Huff to continue to have a really strong effect and impact in this ball game on the second night of a back-to-back, when you don't really have too much time to learn the playbook, because as much as Mike Williams and his staff ran the same system and the same sets as Wes Unseld and his staff, at the same time, they both have tweaks and things that you can do off of them and adaptions based on who you have personnel-wise on your roster and what their strengths and weaknesses are versus what the Wizards have and don't have. So although it's the same system and the same sets, there's going to be some tweaks and givances. And what you've been able to see from these guys has been really phenomenal. And there's also one thing I would like to clear up that I had not had the chance during the game. I did not steal the sweet potato pie, okay? I just need it to be known. That pie slice was given to me.
Oh.
I did not steal it.
That sounds like a guilty party right there,
I am
Wes.
going to eat it.
Guilty.
But I'm not. I did not steal it.
Guilty.
I did not steal it. I have Wes Unseld Jr. as my witness. It was not stolen by
me. If I
me.
can get a hold of him in the post-game scrum, I'm asking that question. See, I can only take your word for it right now, Megan McPhee. But all kidding aside, I have a real question for you. We talk about the Go-Go Wizards relationship. Tonight, a unique experience with Mike Williams actually on the bench. How beneficial is it for the young guys to have the Wizards head coach and the Go-Go head coach right there in the same environment at the same time?
Well, when you actually think about it, technically there was 2 Go-Go head coaches on the Wizards bench tonight. Ryan Richmond is a former Go-Go head coach himself as well too. He was actually the head coach prior to Mike Williams, and they essentially swapped benches. Mike wanted to get head coaching experience, and so did the front office. They wanted to get him experience, and Ryan wanted to get more assistant coaching experience as well too. So you kind of have that flip-flop. And then as well too, Landon Tatum is another guy who was previously on the Wizards bench who wanted to get more experience in a different assistant coaching role. So he went down to the Go-Go to get experience as well too. But when you finish the Go-Go season and Mike comes back up, this is something you typically see as well too in other G League situations. It just allows the coaching staff to get more experience from a coaching standpoint and learn what they're implementing up here that can be implemented down with the Go-Go as well too in the future.
See, this is what I like, having Megan McPhee here to connect the dots behind the scenes that people need to know about. Megan, thank you very much. Friday, back DC. You already know where to be. Safe travels until then. Coming up on the other side, we're going to continue to look at this young team, how they were shooting tonight, what to expect from the next time they step on the court. That and a lot more, including Bradley Beal and his mentorship.